Last year, during the Mountain Archery Fest events, a combination mule deer, coos deer archery hunt was given away and to be guided by Antler Canyon Outfitters in Arizona. The winner of the hunt, Dave, opted to focus on stalking muleys in the desert. As Dave and Toby's dad were circling to prepare their stalk on a buck, Toby radioed to let them know a huge buck was working the ridge right to them.
This big buck is still just cruising for the end of the ridge, Dad.
They were in the perfect position for an ambush. The buck worked its way into 38 yards. He could sense something wasn't right. But before the buck could clear the prickly pear cactus to give Dave a shot opportunity, the buck decided to turn and make his escape. The next day, Toby and Dave were glassing, trying to turn up a buck, when Toby noticed a shooter buck on the opposite ridge, close to where Brandon and Clayson were glassing. Toby got on the radio and started to guide Clayson in for a shot. Toby did a great job putting Clayson right on top of this buck. However, Clayson had a little bit of trouble spotting the buck at first. It wasn't until the buck worked a little bit further down the hill before he could spot it. The buck stepped out and presented a 90-yard shot.
Looks like he stood up, got his toes drawn. Oh, he just hammered him.
Not sure if his arrow connected, Clayson sent another arrow when the buck stopped running at 110 yards. And that one missed as well.
This buck's doing really well if he did hit him.
On the final morning of the hunt, Toby and Dave found themselves glassing the vast desert for a shooter buck. It didn't take Toby very long to find one.
There's a bigger buck.
Is he?
Yeah, big heavy 4x4. He's got a kicker and a drop tine, and double eye guards on one side.
While making his trek across the drainage, Dave is unaware that a second buck has entered the scene, and the split-brow, drop-tine buck does not want any company.
Oh, he sees that other buck coming down. Oh, they're getting ready to square off here. Holy moly, they're fighting. They're getting after it. This is sweet. This is wild. This is insane. I think they're stuck together. Oh my gosh. This is absolutely nuts. Oh my gosh.
Unfortunately, Dave was not nearby because this fight would have presented the perfect distraction for Dave to close a distance in a hurry. Toby stayed in the glass and tracked the buck after the fight broke up. He then guided Dave into the area where the buck was.
If you came out on the rocks, he'd be about 40 to 50 down, but probably 100 yards over to the left in the shade.
Once Dave made it to the area where the buck was hiding, he was picked off by a couple does. As they spooked, Dave was able to sneak off a shot at about 110 yards, but he missed.
I just took like a 110-yard shot at this buck over here because I was busted.
The buck spooked, but didn't spook far. Dave continued on the stalk. As Dave was closing a distance, the buck worked its way back towards Dave. However, there was just enough vertical relief in the landscape preventing Dave from seeing the buck.
The buck's just hit the bottom. He's coming in front of you, Dave. The buck is right in front of you, just hit the bottom. He's walking to your left.
Following directions from Toby on the radio, Dave pursued the buck out of view and to the other side of the ridge.
So I could get 60 yards from him, but he would never. We always had cedars in between us.
Oh,
hunters got to get used to
Yeah.
failure.
Yes.
But when you do have success, it makes
Makes it
all
that much sweeter. Yeah, you did a good job for me.
That was really fun.
Appreciate that.
Fred Bear once said, "If you consider an unsuccessful hunt to be a waste of time, then the true meaning of the chase eludes you altogether. It's not just the chase. It's the smell of the mountains. It's the warmth of the sunrise. It's the camaraderie of companions. It's the passion to conserve. We are bow hunters, and this is our common ground."